Good morning. This is Sunday morning conversation, and I'm just chatting with a young lady. We've been sort of prematurely discussing something about emotions, and you sort of pulling me away from what I wanted to speak about, but still, that's what you're here for. And she's asking about feelings. Now you say that again, just to repeat it so that the audience can hear it.
You had mentioned that you should not feel.
Well, not you should not. Take the word out.
Yeah.
Oh, see?
That.
Okay, because I haven't forbidden anything.
No. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
Go ahead.
that.
We have to be very careful of language, because there's certain pieces of language which will describe the state that I require you to be in.
Right. That's what's driving me. That's why my words are.
You can't listen to your feelings. You can't struggle with your feelings to think, well, I'm not supposed to have any feeling. Because you can't help that. You can't make you repress those feelings. Once they're triggered like an animal, you're running and fighting. And after a while, you become addicted to the forces that produce those behaviors, those reactions that become feelings, that the feelings become thought, thought becomes action by reaction, triggered by that reaction, which is the primary source of your existence. But a new existence springs up in place of you, because you're supposed to be, you're different, and we can go into what makes you different later. But human beings are not like animals. They sink lower than animals. Animals are noble creatures. A crocodile is better than you. It only eats what it's supposed to eat. You eat chicken.
Yeah.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, it's true.
And it doesn't.
It's true.
It just snatches. It has no mercy for anything.
Yeah, that's funny,
You
but
think,
it's
oh,
true.
the poor little lamb, poor little deer. The point is, but you eat live food and everything. So, but the point is, but you're not supposed to eat each other, because is that what you're doing? You eat yourself. You feed on your own self. That's what creates anxiety. That's what creates cancer and disease. And I'll show you how that happens. See, because all the struggle you have with yourself is reacting to what has been planted in you. And this is the person that planted what your behavior is, and itself, a piece of itself in you, which triggers the need for emotion which created it. In other words, if you hate me, if I'm mean to you, and you're a little girl, and I'm really mean to you, your mother, your father, or you see injustice, and you expect them to be prince and princesses, which is what you expect when you're a little girl, because you kind of know what you are intuitive when you're little, when you're very small. It disappears at a certain point. Some people have intuition at 6 months old. Not very much. There's stories I can tell you about that, not now. But when you get to be 2 or 3 years old, it becomes very clear that your parents are stupid. Your parents are wicked. Your parents don't know what the hell they're doing. But actually you don't see it that way. You just see them as something hostile and cruel. And so that even if your mother is nice to you, you are so sensitive as a little child, you feel a pull to be a slave to her. It's codependency. She does something nice. She does something nice. She does something nice. And you can feel, the little child can feel and she's praising the child. And the child already has sensed that if it's lifted up like that, it has to come down to accept that praise. And then once the praise is set in concrete inside, then the little girl can't stop. So what she does is stop being herself, stop having her own, the purpose for which she was created. And the purpose is just to worship Mother and to make her feel good about herself. See? So these are emotions which are created by evil. And evil passes through women. It doesn't come through men. Men are responsible. It's men's fault that women destroy their children. And eventually the father destroys them too. He destroys the mother destroys the... It's all a feeling. All we want is feeling from each other. We want to feel alive, and we live from our children. And some children see it and run away. And are very angry. And the mother the mother who's got one child as a codependent will be insulted by the child that's rude because she's also being nice to that child feels the pull and wants to run away from the pull because it senses as evil. See that? It wants to live off the child. We're talking about feelings, aren't we, basically? But I'm giving you a place where the feelings begin. Women. Women are Eves. Every single one of them is an Eve. And every one of them is dangerous. Dangerous to the men. And every good woman, every decent child, female child, who's growing up, senses that. She senses that something is wrong with her, that she has a need, but she doesn't understand what the need is. She doesn't understand it. But if she's really intuitive and held intuitive, she still needs a man to stop her from infecting the children. See? But the trouble is, most men, 99 and 9/10%, also want a feeling. And they go back to their mothers because their fathers never protected them against the mothers who put herself into the boys. That's how men become female and weak, feeble. Or they become strong and rebellious, to running away. See? And then wanting to control the woman because, well, even the reacting is causing the running away. One is reacting and submitting. The other one is reacting and saying, I don't want to be around this. See? He senses that's temptation. That's the female. Eats the children. And one child yields to it. It could be, and the boy becomes effeminate. See, you see all these muscle people. See? And what they're doing, most of them, are females, trying to be men. They spent their whole life trying to be a man. Big muscles. It's not a man.
Bruce Jenner.
Huh?
Bruce Jenner.
What's he say?
Bruce Jenner.
Oh, Bruce Jenner, that's right. Oh, Bruce Jenner, yes. That's him. He couldn't help. It grew and grew. The more he fought his feminine nature, the more, by becoming a best at sports and everything, best, it was killing him.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I don't know about him. I don't know. I know about Bruce Jenner.
Yeah.
But and that's what I talk about. He had to give away. Sooner or later, the anxiety of becoming a man in a wrong way, or to overcome the woman in him that's growing, because the more he struggled against the woman in him, the more the woman got to him. But the woman was no longer the mother. The woman was inside him. The spirit of the woman. The playing, the acting. It's not a woman at all. It's just a demon. A dark side. He had to accommodate it, see. But he didn't want to. He wanted to be a man. He just realized there was something wrong. And slowly but surely, all the accolades encouraged him, and everybody was cheering him, and he was responding to the approval of the crowd as the entertainer, and They were emboldening him. And he couldn't stop. And it got to a point where the woman, he couldn't do it anymore.
Wow.
He had to have, there was a woman inside, he had to become a woman. Curse the doctors that did that. Curse the doctors that did that. You want to kill them, want to take them to tear their head off. What a wicked thing to agree to do such a thing. But you see where I'm going? Feelings, they drive you. They drive you to be whatever, to be a murderer, to be a killer, to be a weakling, to be a appeaser, but never a person. And this emotions is death, but it makes you feel alive. So after many years of emotional feelings, love feelings, which are not love, hate feelings, which are really hate, see, both of these, love, hate, are feelings. And this dark mass that you call you is growing in you instead of something light and beautiful. Something bright and beautiful that's in the image of the Creator. But the enemy is still inside you, and it makes you think that there's something wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with it, making you think there's something wrong with you. See, and that you need to. So you get angry with people, you do stupid things, and you make decisions. It's always wrong. And so the problem with relationships with people, you give yourself too much to them, or you're a bigger bully. But whatever it is, the bully will have guilt, and the appeasers get guilt. Sooner or later, everybody gets it. Everybody starts to suffer from sicknesses and diseases and divorces and bad relationships and bad decisions. And we all go to doctors to fix it. We all go to church to have someone tell us over and over again what they really don't know anything about. See that? And it makes you feel, and if you don't go to work, it gets so bad, you feel like a drunk. It's liquor. You feel guilty for not going to church. It's that you're drunk on it. It's all feelings. Oh, how nice it is, the pastor. It was a wonderful sermon today. That's what I said. See? So you're afraid to have no feelings because you feel dead. Not only that, but you start to feel anxiety.
Yeah.
See? And what's the anxiety? If you don't have a feeling, the thing inside you can't exist. It exists on getting you to feel.
Yes.
And feeling is a driving force. It is an evolutionary force. With a human being, it's devolutionary. But never the mind, devolutionary, you are devolving into something. It's just a black mass. See? And that black mass you're going to pretend because that's all you got. Who understands that?
Yes.
Did I describe it pretty well, didn't I?
Now, what if you swim a mile in a pool? And you get out and you feel good?
No, I don't feel anything.
You don't feel...
I swim 3 miles and said, I'm getting tired of this. I'm just getting bored.
Yeah, but you feel good.
I can
don't
swim
you?
3 miles.
But don't you feel good after you
No.
get... No.
No, I actually ache all over. But that's not a feeling, that's natural.
Oh, okay.
That's because I'm doing exercise. I walk on my machine, and my muscles ache. They're supposed to. No, it doesn't stop me because I know I've got to make those muscles stronger. I have to push myself. But that's not a feeling, it's simply common sense. I go push myself. And ignore the feeling in my legs. See?
Or you give a good talk, okay, on
Yeah.
Sunday,
Yeah.
and you don't feel good afterwards?
No? I said, well, we have lunch.
Okay.
Why would I feel good? I'm not speaking. You're not talking to me. You're talking, I'm not talking, it's not me talks. I didn't know what the subject was this morning. I was going to have a subject. She graciously made a point. I answered to it because the moment required it. Never mind what I wanted to say. I wanted to help her because she was calling me. She's ready.
Aren't you bored, Dad? Don't you get bored with
No,
life?
I never get bored. I can sit all day and do nothing. See how far away you are from me.
Except, Ann, I want a cup of tea now.
No. You are going to get the idea that emotions are devolutionary. And the abstract of emotion means you can actually be so afraid of emotion that you can build a wall around yourself so you don't feel it because it's so dangerous. Is it correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And it will kill you. And the reason why it does is because if you don't have the common sense to understand that, which I make very simple just now,
Yes.
if you don't understand what's happening to your emotions and it's killing you, your body will take over what your mind and spirit could do. It will just block out all emotion. Then you have no feeling. Because if you have any more feeling, it would kill you.
Yes, I seem to sometimes go through an emptiness with where normally, you would eat or you'd watch a movie or to try to escape from that empty feeling. But is that what you're talking about?
No,
Sort of
you
an
don't want to
empty-
escape from, yes, you want to fill it with a feeling.
Yeah, you want to feel the emptiness. You just want to go through the emptiness and don't fill it.
Say it again.
Okay, like sometimes I go through, like when I'm not working or I don't have anything to do, I'll sort of have an empty feeling.
No, I don't.
I'm not-
I don't know. I don't feel any empty feeling at all.
He's saying, Roy, like you're being bored.
I know.
Right, yeah, being
no,
bored.
I'm never bored.
I know that.
What am I bored about? I've said, if I've got nothing to do, I've got lots of things to look at. I could look at you. I would rather not.
My ego does not hurt.
Well, yes, I usually go for a walk or something when I have that. But
Well-
there's a tendency, I think there's a tendency to want to fill that void
Yeah.
with something, food
No.
or movie.
No,
or,
I have no void. We did talk about void. I don't know what void is.
Yeah, I think I go through that.
So you're full of it, and I'm full of a different full of it. You're full-filled, and I'm full-filled. A fool that's filled. I don't mean to be rude.
No,
I'm just
no,
playing with words.
Well, that's just the grace of God that you have that.
That's right. That's what you need to discover, and that is to live forever, not in this form, but in some other way. Which I'm not doing it to live forever. I'm doing it because how else would you do it? I see movies sometimes which express in a hero. The hero does never notice that he is a hero. Everybody stands there not knowing what to do, the other one does it. In spite of it, all the danger, doesn't seem to notice the danger, just does it. And so I'm that way. I've been that way ever since I can remember. And so when people say, how do you do that? I say, how else would you? They can't see it. If somebody was drowning, see, and they could jump in or do something, they wouldn't, because if it looked like it was a bit too dangerous, but the hero would do it and see possibility not too dangerous. Not too dangerous because he's got the strength and whatever it is to do it. He just does it, and everybody looks on.
Yeah, he has confidence.
You see that in movies.
Yeah, John Wayne.
Yeah, well, not John Wayne. What's that movie? What was that movie we saw last night? The Kingdom of Heaven.
Yes.
You get it. That is a very good example of a priest with his life, not noticing that he's being battered and mislaid and betrayed and being held back because of his virtue. He doesn't know he has virtue. He doesn't know why he can't get ahead. But as it would happen, it unfolds by itself to become very magically wonderful. It's a wonderful story. And there are others movies have very often, not often, but you think of a hero as, bang, bang, shoot 'em up and stuff like that. And there's also some truth to that. Right. But there's a kind of quality to a person that nothing is impossible to them. They do the impossible. They do what everybody else thinks it's impossible and never could do. And it's not dangerous to them. It's just how else would you do it? That's how it is.
Moses.
Huh?
Moses.
Yeah, Moses. Yes, he did, but he hit that. He killed the taskmaster, right? And he didn't have to. He could just have him executed, and he wouldn't have to reveal himself, would he? But because of the impulse, was necessary to break him free from where he would have become Pharaoh. Right. Yes, he would have become, because he was a favorite. And a favorite for a good reason, because Pharaoh recognized his own son was not as good as Moses. See? But the point is, he finds himself in the desert. And there you go. And had he stayed there and just had him executed and didn't kill him himself, see, the taskmaster, that's what he deserves anyway. Because Moses was also a military person. He marched everybody through the desert for 40 years. He wasn't lost. He was a prince of the desert. He just made sure all the old people died because there's no psychiatry after being 400 years, in slavery. Many of them have become Egyptians. They've taken on the name. So he went up to let's finish the story. He went up to the mountain and got the 10 Commandments, and when he came down, they were worshipping idols, the golden lamb, wasn't it, right? Right. And so, guess how many people he killed? 20,000 people of his own. He killed them because they are an influence. There's no way, there's no psychiatry. It's got to be done. He killed his own people, and then he marched them around the desert for 40 years. Why? For the new generation to reprogrammed, see, and to find a better way. It's not easy to break the hypnotic state of being a slave, even in your own life. Most of you are slaves. Most Americans are slaves, but we are waking up. I don't know if I have anything to do with that, because I've been doing this for 55 years. But we are waking up, but we're not waking up enough. See, you're awake, and you're aware, and you're asking questions. And lots of people listening to me are listening and not necessarily calling, not wanting to give themselves away, especially if you're a very important person. You don't want to associate with the likes of me, right? See, so I represent basically the first generation of Christians. If you bring the Christians back as they were then, today, they would be persecuted by the Christians. Right. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, they rely too much on Scripture.
Yes.
You can't argue with them, or you don't want to get into an argument with them about Scripture.
I just don't like reading the Bible. I just tick, 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 tick. Oh, there's something. I don't read a science book. All those science books. Whew. Tick, 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 tick. Boing. First of all, I wouldn't be a science book if it wasn't my purpose. It would be something else. See? So having traveled the journey into metaphysics, which is the most important more than science, see? Having finished that and satisfied with it, having understood it completely so I can convey it to others, but not only just with words, it's with who. In other words, that's what I said a few moments ago. I'm not speaking. My memory is so bad, I can't remember who she is.
Oh my God. I'm really in trouble.
No, I can't remember. Well, I have a bad memory. But I don't have a bad memory when it comes to suddenly I'm alive and I'm required to act out something. I'm required to say something. See how every now and then I get tongue-tied. But what's happening to me is all the fancy words are disappearing. Because what I can say is in simple words. So I'm becoming addicted to simple words. And the simple words are better than the fancy words because most people don't understand the fancy words. It's very interesting to listen to. You kind of get it. It's actually unnecessary. You can say the same thing in basic English and less. But if it comes with the energy of the creation, if it comes with the energy of the Creator, it's not, you could go, Om, Om, there's no place like Om, like they do. I could do that and it would mean something. Right. The other guys, it would be just no place like Om.
I have noticed
Yoga.
this. You know, I listen to you on the radio, but when I come here, there's a different,
Yes.
there's a different, right.
Energy. It's a
Yes.
it's a force field I don't feel.
Right, and I think more people need to come to your Sunday,
Lord, yes, but I think millions.
just to see the difference. There's a difference
There
between
is
the
a
radio
difference,
and the...
yes. But you see, it's the hero, the real hero, are nonchalant. There's a fancy word for you all of a sudden. See, they don't know they're heroes. They don't know they're good. They don't know that they're God's own in the beginning. It took me 35 years. It took me 35 years or so for a Christian lady to come in, and I thought I was doing hypnosis, and I wasn't. I was doing the unhypnosis. See, all of a sudden she said, "You know, what did you do for me? I don't know, but everybody in my family sees such a change in me, they can't believe it." And she said, "What you said was in the Bible." I said, "What was that?" So I forget what it was now. So I went to look to see what it was, word for word. And then I looked through the Bible, and I understood everything in it. You know, it's like, but it was too much. So I just, every now and then, I take a little peek. When that's sitting there, all of a sudden it's there, I just, there's a pic, oh, there it is again. And that created an awakening. So the words disappeared. If I quote, it's only by memory, which is not that great. I won't quote a scripture perfectly, but I get the point. And the point is the most important. It's the scripture is flawless, literally flawless. But if it's got flaws, it's only in the translation. But I could get through that lead us away from temptation. That's where it should be. But you say it as lead us not into temptation, as if God was doing it. And the average church person, all the way up to the Pope, will say, lead us not into temptation, and not see a damn thing wrong with that. That's what you're talking about, leaders. God doesn't lead you into temptation. He leads you away from it. He's not the devil. That's an insult. That's a translation. But I'm not a linguist. But I can see there's something wrong. They couldn't. They're machines. You can't be a machine of the world. You can't be a machine of your preacher, your rabbi. Screw him. Excuse me. Oh. Screw the whole lot. You've got to be a person that is directly controlled by the Holy Spirit.
And moment by moment.
Moment by
Step
moment,
by step.
you do not know what's going to happen next. I had a lecture all prepared for you, roughly. I mean, a subject matter. And I thought I'd talk about the universe. To hell with that now. It's what it is. Did it help you?
Yes.
Did it help you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
I can relate to what you're saying about the suppressing of feelings because
You don't need to suppress them.
right, I did that for quite a while, and it seemed to work for a while, but it did make me into like just kind of a zombie. And then so as I was doing To Be Still, I saw that I have all these feelings and they're not me, but I don't need to fight them anymore because the very nature of salvation is not fighting.
That's correct.
Yeah.
He fights for you.
Right.
Revenge is mine. So if I have to kill you, if you dramatize it to make a point, I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're ISIS or you're a really bad person or you're coming into my home and you want to kill my family, right? I'm not going to say, God, do this, because
Right.
I'm the one he's acting through,
Right.
right?
But-
it's my responsibility.
But it's a little different with the spirit inside you.
Yes.
That's his fight. That's not our fight. And when I tried to fight
There's
it,
no-
it just got more control.
Yes.
That's all. It's sneaky little bugger.
Well, I have a nice little story to make the point. And I use a feminine picture in this explanation. A lady's combing her hair, a pretty lady's combing her hair at night and doing the usual things before she retires, right? All of a sudden the windows smash and a big guy jumps in. And she says, "Oh, hello." "Oh, what? Are you all right? Would you like a cup of tea?" Now, if that attitude would stop him dead, but not if you would act it,
Right.
but it would be the kind of reaction you should have to anything ugly and suddenly startling, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
It
And
should be appropriate in some way and not out in left field, which what I just said. But I did it to exaggerate the point.
Right.
It is hello. There's no hello. There's the hello, welcome into my house attitude, which is kind of startling because the person expects you to react and
Right.
take you over.
Right. It feeds
And
off
the opposite happens.
Yeah.
He reacts to what's good in you, and it paralyzes the wicked because they're dealing with good and evil. So if there's good in the person, God in the person, and the devil in the other one, which is exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the good person is being acted through, the evil one is acted through, and the one that's being acted through that's good recognizes that this person is a borrowed form,
Right.
that this is not really him he's dealing with, so I don't have to kill him. See?
Right.
All I have to do is be him through me. See how I said that?
Mm-hmm.
So him through me is like I'm now at war, not with the form, but with the spirit that is acting through that form
Right.
towards me.
Yeah. There's great strength
It's a
in that.
paralyzing thing.
Right.
It also kills. It also kills. What happens is that he runs away. Let's say he runs away. It doesn't really apply in my story here, but I'm in a factory, and there's so many different examples I can give, because there's so many variations of those, thousands of them. But I'm in a factory working for my living. I have wife and children. I don't have a lot of money, but somebody in that factory doesn't like me. And he doesn't like me because who I am. There's a lot going on in America that way. So if you are of God, you don't know it, and you don't know why you're being persecuted. But it's okay you don't know it, because it still has the same effect if you don't know it. It's even better that you don't know it. So you may be the elect of God without having to go through the fancy experiences of rediscovering Him. So you really know it's Him. I'm speaking about myself. When I didn't know, it was Him. See, everything was easy for me. Even since I was a small boy. I was simply, I was working in factory too, and being bullied every now and then. But it even came to fisticuffs when I was 15. So older boy says, pick up that, drop something on the floor, said, pick it up. I said, you pick it up. So I'm only 15, and he's a big guy. He says, if you don't pick it up, I'll wait outside for you. That's okay. He went to the hospital. An ambulance came, and it took about a few seconds. I don't know what I did. I've done that before. I don't know what I've done. Am I good at judo? I have a little piece of it, a smattering of it to something, but not to deal with a half a dozen people, which I've done several times, and dealt with gang leaders and make them run away from me. I don't understand that. It's just, I can remember my wife standing at the side of the road with the kids, and this big gang leader comes up, and all the other gangs. It's like high noon. And what I was saying to him, I won't share with you, it's not necessary. But he couldn't function. He ran away from me. I had some kind of power over him, so he's paralyzed. Literally paralyzed. His hand was in the air, wanted to hit me, he couldn't. So I told you I could control you, didn't I? Bang, he ran away, took his motorcycle, and he was so scared, he ran past me with his motorcycle. I said, I'm going to get a ticket for you if you're not careful, goodbye. She saw that. And she was going, Roy, 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 Roy. I said, shut up.
Yeah, it's amazing what somebody who's totally, centered in the truth, how threatening that is.
But I didn't know it.
Right. You were just being... I was a member of a small church down in LA, and when I started to really wake up, I wasn't wanted there. I became a threat, and it was really weird. It was really bizarre. But here, the reception is much different. But I found that that's common now, and it's okay.
And it's getting more natural.
Yeah.
In other words, you don't have to make decisions. But so what do you do? I can understand people saying, what the hell do you do? If he's doing it, what do he need you for? You could put it that way if he wanted to. He does it through you. I have a life. But the point is, which life do I choose? I'm alive. I'm in a body. And that body's been violated when I was born, to some degree. And I recognized it and somehow overcame it, not knowing. I can't explain that. I can, but it takes too long to make the point. And so I don't know what life is. I just know I'm alive. My eyes see. I said to myself, how does my eyes work? Who made those eyes like that? How did I become from a little seed? How does that little seed blossom into me? How did it know what nutrients to take from my mother? My mother didn't know what she was doing. She was developing milk, ready for it, and the formula is still good. Cow's milk is always the same formula, right? Where do they get the formulas? Where does the snake get its formula for the different kinds of poisons? So it dissolves the creature, the victim, before it goes in the stomach. How is all these things happening? I'm alive. How did that little seed grow into me? I didn't make me. I didn't give myself consciousness. I'm here for a purpose. And the purpose is to find redemption. But I don't know. I don't know anything about that yet. But the purpose is to find redemption. But I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a baby. Oh yes, I was affected by it. Affected by the culture. We all are. And we all express the culture and not God. Culture, the perfect culture, would be what Adam was next to then. That is the perfect culture for every human being on earth. The devil is going to have the culture where the whole universe, the whole world is governed by man. See? And the man is the devil, will be represented Hitler. See, that's what's going on, the War of the Worlds. I have a book called The War of the Worlds. You can get it for $5, 70 pages, if you want to go to the website. It was the second book I wrote, never published. Just, it's a book with a cover to it and everything. And you can download it, it's very cheap. You go to books on the website, and then we have thousands, we got about 200 up there now. I'm going to put them all up. So I will leave a legacy. So where was I now? So I'm alive. But then, in that life, you've inherited Adam's lot, correct? You didn't do what Adam did. You are inheriting the consequence. It's called culture, which is then ruled by men. See? And the darker they are, the more power they have over the innocent. The innocent doesn't want power. But the evil does, and it has to destroy the innocence to obtain it. Because if innocence grows, it diminishes. So it's that way it is. And so that's why you have so much evil in the world. Because they keep you from it through church, synagogue, mosques, you name it, cannibals. However, how far back we have a free country, which is the first free country that ever was. There's never been a free country quite like, except Rome in its early years. It was like America for about up to 400 years, and 400 years decline. That's how powerful it was, how much beauty and how much intellectual processes were so relevant, even lasting to this day. The buildings, the aqueducts are still working. They've discovered concrete. They had running water. Brilliant, see. But it became a free country. It's about the only one. Maybe Greeks, very short period of time. But there's never been much freedom in any part of the world. It's always violence. You see it happening in America right now, and being cultivated. And cultivated by the person you elected. Cultivated. Backed. Literally to use those dark forces in people and to make them dark, to demoralize them in the inner cities. See? And create what you see happening. And even the police now have to be careful of how they go about things. They're backing off, see. And so what's missing is not just being waking up from what's happening. We are waking up. I'm happy to see it. But you still got evil in this country, and it still has power. It's going to take a long time if we survive the end of the 16. If 16 comes soon, I assure you, great danger there. The danger there is more than you can possibly imagine. And you're not going to have to be ready for it. You have to see it coming, because it's better to see. I'm sitting here in this little town. I left everything behind 35 years ago. I had a boat in front of my house. I still got the house. I bought it cheap, don't worry. I bought it for, what was it, $50,000? It took me 45 years to pay it off at $300 a month, $330 a month. But it became valuable, and I had a boat. I learned to navigate and catch lots of fish with my family. I left it all behind 35 years ago to come up here and get persecuted. But something drew me up here. It's a long story. But I could see the future. I got to leave California. It's going to fall apart. And it is. It's going to be awful. Things are going to be so bad, you may not survive what's been planned for you. He's as dangerous in 2016, more dangerous as he approaches leaving office. And the decline of America brought that about, because you're always drawn to the thing that has corrupted you. You tend to worship. It's called a love-hate relationship. You have it in your own life. You have an insecurity, and the woman has her insecurity. The man has insecurity. She wants a man to say no, and he can't because he needs his mother's approval. And so he's having sex with his mother, which is very painful. He isn't a man. He is just an extension of evil. Eve, no extension. He's got the identity of Eve. And he doesn't know how to be a man. He does not know how to shut her up and say, put that fruit down, Eve, and make me my dinner. Because he doesn't want to lose the sense of worth. She gives him the sense of worth is worthless. And it repeats itself over and over again. You had to have a Jesus to make the point. You had to have a Jesus. Yeah, but he was born with immaculate conception. You have to understand why it had to be immaculate, because you couldn't have a man, the sperm of a man. You couldn't have that. He'd have to be born from a woman, but the spirit had to fertilize her. So he was a son of God, not son of Adam. Now he has power. It's power in the sense he has to prove what was said to Adam many years ago. You can eat all this fruit. See, of all the fruit you can eat, but not that one. See. And he says, I'm a little bit shy on this one, so someone help me if you will. He said, even I give you, if you do this, I will give you eternal life. You can have eternal life. You won't die. But the point is it's difficult to say, because what we're dealing with is evil. And you have to ask where the evil comes from. Then you have to go back to the fact that evil had to be created in order that good might be. Because if you didn't have evil to deal with,
How could you be good?
how can you be good? See, we can't. Animals can't be good or bad, can they? They can't be good or bad. They're not going to be punished if they're right. They're not going to be punished if they fail, if they get weak, they get eaten. See, but human beings have a choice of masters, the will of the world or the will of Creator. But we're born into this world, and so he got thrown out. Because you have done this thing, dust thou art, and dust thou shalt return. And every man shall leave his mother and father and be bonded to the woman. That's what he says. There was something else said, I missed it.
One flesh.
Become one flesh. Yeah, become one flesh with a woman. That is how hell moves through the generations. With everybody being born, every human being born is born innocent. And here's why you need to understand what redemption is. It waits for you. It waits for you before you were born. But you have to have the inclination, what is life all about? In your heart. So you're born into it, you're innocent, and every child is not born a murderer, not born a killer, but you're born programmable because you're born into a culture that isn't the kingdom of heaven. It's what Adam gave to us, and consequently we have all kinds of politics, all kinds of ideas, cannibalism, Nazism. You see, anything, thousands and thousands of different variations of religions, and we're all broken up in little pieces. And where one is smart enough, like Hitler, gets the idea how to reprogram everybody to his will. He was brilliant at that. He was really, really wicked, but brilliant. And you got stupid ones, stupid ones that look like Obama. He looks stupid, but he isn't. He's doing the very thing exactly what he knows exactly how to do it to demoralize America. It's taken a long time to do it, several generations to demoralize, so that we no longer have virtues, no longer think of religion as valuable. Some people have the idea that religion is valuable to them, because it is. So they learn it and they act it out, but they haven't got the full force of it. And if we don't get the full force of what really good really is, that has no feeling to it, but you are acted through by God, which means you have been redeemed. And what it means by redemption is the life you live is painful. The life that's given to you is not you living through you, it's the dark side living through you, and it's only a little tiny seed, but as it keeps on making you doubt yourself and feel guilty towards your mother, and guilty towards your father, and you start taking on the nature of both, and emboldened by them, or run away from them and do to others what was done unto you. It keeps going. It doesn't stop. So every child is born from a child that was messed up. And you get to the point where you think that sex is love, and it isn't. Music is made to make sex is love, but it isn't. It's all a lie. It is all codependency, and that codependency has a political equivalent.
Yeah, I can see
You
that.
see that political
I can see that
equivalent?
in the world. The way the world is, I can see the way it is.
You know,
in
politics is
relationships.
another form of warfare. Politics itself is codependency. Make you more and more dependent and more slave. And that's what you see. But virtue, as long as America was virtuous and fought for itself, even though it wasn't perfect, but the whole idea of freedom, people were willing to give their lives for this. A small detachment. Who was it? Sorry, I had to stop there. I can't remember the first president. Washington, thank you. I was looking at washing up. It wouldn't come out of Washington. I keep telling you to go do the washing. She's not perfect. But the small group of people, 3,000, walking without shoes, freezing cold, with no hope. The government wouldn't help. It's typically liberals. Democrats wouldn't help. It wouldn't give them the money, it wouldn't give them power. Still, there's that quality that it's got to be done. And you had some people like that. That's the reason why we're free. But the reason why you're not free is because slowly but surely the schools got infiltrated, the colleges got infiltrated, and you thought we won the war between Russia, what they call it, the Cold War. No, we didn't. They had part two, if part one didn't work. See that? They never stop.
Yeah,
Evil never stops.
Reagan spoke against the...
Yeah, he saw it coming.
Yeah.
I saw it coming, that's why I'm here. You can kiss California goodbye. But then they're going to have aliens voting. Is that insane? And no one's... But how do you fight this? How does the average person... You can't fight it until you have that quality of Washington, of Reagan, of Moses. See? Because these are linchpins. These set the stage. It radiates. It's infectious to some people. But the key to what it is has never been found. The key to the kingdom, it's in the Bible, but it's vague. I know what the key to the kingdom is, precisely, because I spent my whole life not reading books. To hell with the books. Bible, yes. But then the Bible wasn't enough by itself. There's mistakes lead us.
Yeah,
Not
translation.
It's not enough. There's only a half an hour of Jesus' words there. It's plenty, if you understand it. But I don't think I really read the Bible only just here and there and I don't want to make it intellectual. I just want to pick pieces out of it as he gives it to me. And as somebody else mentions it and makes a quote, oh, that's interesting. I never thought that before. See? So I'm going to just change the subject just a little bit. There's something in this iPhone. It will take too long to read it. There's a lady who writes to me. She's about 90. Very smart lady. She's listened to me 50 years. It's taken her 50 years to get here. She's been violated and molested and God knows what, terrible things. But she's very good with the computer, and she sends me little stories, and I read it because it is just magical stuff she's seeing. So one of the magical stuffs, if I can remember it, she says, when I was caught up with you, see, had you on a pedestal, I hated you. So when you said the positive things, I would do them, and I'd be pleased, and I'd feel fulfilled. But I was a fool that was filled. That's me saying that. It was not healthy. I was justifying her. And then when she felt the guilt of that, she hated me. And then she became suggestible to the negative things I said. So it made her worse. So I was, in a sense, she was getting more broken. No matter what I said, the negative got inside her and tormented her. The positive got inside and tormented her. She was going round and round and round like the music that comes on my program. She's spinning. She's going from one to another. So I've said that it would take me 10 minutes to write what she just said. But I think I've just brought it to a point. Can you see that? So you have no idea how important it is for you to really, really drop everything you've ever been taught and wait for it to come up again. So you may be walking down the street or sitting there, as he says, bored. Bored. But I'm not bored. I'm just sitting here, I'm alive. I don't say, what am I here for? I already said that. It's already been done. I don't feel, all of a sudden, a day will pass, 2 days will pass, I haven't learned anything. I get an email. Oh, I never thought of that. See, that lady reminded me of something I recognized, didn't know I was doing. I understood the codependency in one way, but not both ways, in the sense, yes, I recognize it. So the positive is negative, and the negative is negative. I always say there's no way out, but I didn't say it as exquisitely as she said it. And she's 90 years old, and she's been listening to me 50 years. It's taken her 50 years to get to where she needed to be. But I had it since I was a little boy. I didn't know it. And so I remember the lady coming in and saying, my family doesn't understand what happened to me. I don't feel any different. So actually, I don't understand what's happening to me, but they seem that, how wonderful it is. What is it? I said, says, the only thing I can tell you is what you said. I said, what was it? It's a Bible quote, Bible verse. I haven't looked into the Bible. But I swore I would not. This is a strange thing. I didn't swear, but I'll just use that term. I wasn't going to put religion into my books. Guess what? It's all there. I start reading it to myself. I didn't put that in there, did I? He wrote it just the way he dictated it to me, but I didn't remember that aspect of it. I wasn't hard on not putting it in. I just thought it's better that way. I'll just write what I'll learn. But it was all there, the verses and the chapters and everything. I wasn't even reading the Bible. But the Bible was reading itself to me. As a matter of speaking, I can't explain that. So when I opened the Bible, it was familiar. See? But I was 35 years old when I said to myself, oh, that's who you are. Gee, thanks. I was no whoopee. I'm trying to make a point. Am I succeeding here? I don't want you to keep rush and be tense and try to make it happen. It's just a sweet natural quality of what is my life for. That's not it. I had to tell you a little story. And it could have been me to get out of the army. Don't tell anybody.
He'll tell you.
Don't tell anybody.
He'll tell you himself.
I'm too old to be put in jail. So I'll reduce it to just a little story. So there's a guy in the military, he just doesn't want to be in the military. So what he did, he walked around picking up pieces of paper, see, and saying, that's not it. And no, that's not it. And it goes on for weeks and months. And then finally they send him to the psychiatrist. And he got his walking papers. He said, that's it. So, well, I don't know why I said that. But the point is, you know it when you see it, right? You're looking for something. And so you're going about looking for it, but it's saying not it.
And it's there.
Nobody knows what's really going on, but he gets what he wants. If you know what it isn't, you'll know what it is.
Roy, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I've been sitting here listening to you. I understand everything you say. I sometimes slip out of it. I get into it and I know.
I can't help you with that. So you can, you've been listening to me for a long time.
I have.
And
I have.
your relatives have successfully
Yes.
succeeded and apparently succeeded
Right.
in getting it. And there's always a more getting after you got.
Yeah.
It
But
never
you-
stops. It never stops. The wisdom and the life that comes through wisdom is real life. So you're not afraid of death.
No,
You're not afraid of anything.
I
See?
shouldn't be.
No, not afraid of God. You're not afraid of
No.
nothing. Why
But
would
you
you be
know-
afraid of God? See, because He's in you, and He makes you not afraid of anything.
My problem has been not speaking up all the time. And this time,
Why?
it isn't, I don't know. I was always told to be quiet, don't
Well,
say
but
anything.
you're still obeying it.
And I'm still doing that.
Why do you still obey it?
I don't know. Sometimes I catch myself, sometimes I don't. But I got to tell you, my daughter,
No. See, you're not aware enough. Intuition is instantaneous. I had to put accent on that. Intuition is what you wait for. The moment what you're looking for to say no, you don't know when that's coming. Because somebody could say something to you, would you mind helping me with this? Let me just make something up.
Okay.
I'm not very good at that. But it could be harmless. And yes, you could. Or you can sense a trap from those words. And it is a trap. And you say, no, thank you. Oh, what's the matter? But you thought you were a Christian person or something. No, I am. Thank you, no. I feel no pressure, but they feel the pressure. They feel found out.
and that-
The devil doesn't like to be found out. It doesn't like to be watched. It doesn't like to be known as it exists. See? And that person is affected. I'm not affected. I'm not infected. He's affected in a good way. But if he hates that infection, I'm presenting God to him. I don't know. I don't say I'm presenting God to you. It's in my choice. It's in the choice, and the choice is effortless. And until it becomes effortless and obvious, you're dead.
Well, I never give my daughter
No,
credit.
I don't want to hear it. No, don't take it further.
No.
You asked me a simple question. I gave you don't take me away from that.
Okay.
You asked me clean, clear question. I gave you a clean, clear answer.
And I should have got.
So you should have caught that. You
Yeah.
missed it.
I did.
See?
I did.
Everybody else got it. You make no decisions. You always don't know until you're given to know intuitively. So here you have a person saying, would you please help me to do this? Okay. And on the view of it, the sight of it, the average person wouldn't see anything wrong with it. But you're not the average person.
Okay.
You have insight. Therefore, you say no. And where the other guy would say yes, they find themselves in a trap. That's the difference. That is second sight, if you like to call it. You have two pairs of eyes. One you can see with physically, one with you can perceive what's going on in the dark side of that person. And not only that, but to know to make a choice to do something. In other words, your inclinations will always be flawless. You are moving and having your being always in the right direction. Like I began to move up here and leave my very lucrative, lucrative office.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the way. I was doing very well down there with the foundation. Up here, where I come into a Ku Klux Klan city that's only recently just finished becoming that, and take a hailstorm of cruelty. But it's all right. I built a school, and things are working out. We built a network. First of all, the radio station, then I sold it for a lot of money, and then began the network that became the biggest and then the smallest, because we got attacked. Everybody didn't pay their, well, anyway, it's a long story. But we're still there. We still got 400 or 500 stations. So the inclination of the soul, I'll give you an example. I can actually give you an example. And here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
And then we can say goodbye, or you can ask more questions. I'm trying to express something which is not easy. So I remember seeing a movie called Rogue River, or was it Red River, or Rouge River? But it was such a lousy movie. It was, and I remember my brother was here, and he had a one of those, I forget the name of the cars. It fell into disrepute. A Nash. Yeah. A crummy little cash with a canvas on the top. Really crummy. I just remember that for some reason. But I saw the movie and it wasn't much good. And I should be forgetting that, shouldn't I? But I wasn't disturbed. I'd go to sleep. Years later, I go to sleep and I wake up. Something says Rouge River, Rogue River, Red River. What's this? I go to sleep again. And it keeps coming back. Red River, Rogue River, Rouge River. Okay. I fire my, okay, so now jump forward. I fire my my next of
Your associate?
Associate, yeah, thank you. Associate who did my radio program sometimes. He was in charge when I wasn't there. I fired him. I saw the hostility in him and says, no, goodbye. Here's 6 months pay. And he went to Oregon. He became a chimney sweep. And then he became real estate. And then he called me and said, Roy, you know you wanted a place for young kids to come and you help them out. There's a nice place here called Tortemba. So he said, why don't you come up and see it? So I went up and saw it and put a bid in. 4 people were in front of me. Okay. That was it. So all of a sudden I get a call. I got it. I paid. A lady gave me some money. I bought it. A lady donated it for that. It's worth a lot more money today, but I'm like, we got to keep that. Thing is, I thought it was a beautiful place, And I started that school for kids, the sawmill, building things, and they're still living around here, married and having children. It's one of them, see? And so it was wonderful. And then things changed. And one day, I didn't know exactly, I only knew I was living in Grants Pass, but I didn't know it was Rogue River. I found out only after I bought it. And then the dream didn't bother me anymore. Now, how could that be? I went through all kinds of trials and tribulations, but guess what? While I was in Los Angeles, a person comes in and says, piece of paper says, put your signature on this. I said, what is it? He says, well, there's a possibility of building a radio station in Medford. I said, it takes too much money. A lot of people will be buying that. I have to spend money for lawyers and all kinds of things. So he says, look, sign it. There's a lot of stories around that. So I signed it. 3 or 4 months go by. I put my wife's name on it and my daughter's name because they like the women better. They want to give the women. See, remember that. So literally eventually we owned the station, owned a station to build the station, but there was nowhere we knew how to build it. Eventually I found a place, and a person came into my life and knew what to do, and we created KOPE. And so I was on the air now. An interesting thing, a parcel came to me the other day, Understanding Christianity. I used to every week, give an hour on spiritual things. I suddenly got in front of me the other day, all the cassettes, 76 of them, I do one a week, Christianity Today. And they're exquisite, everyone. That's 35 years ago. Okay, so. But then I had Art Bell. And then we turned it into a commercial thing. But the foundation didn't own it. We did. When we sold it for a lot of money, I gave it all to the foundation. It was $8 million. We spent it all, of course. But the point is, not on us, we gave it. Because it wasn't appropriate. See, it wasn't appropriate. We're not interested in money. I'm all right without that. But then we started all over again, and it became the biggest network in the whole country, the second biggest. And then we got betrayed, collapsed. And then we still have this lawsuit against this huge
Conglomerate.
Yeah, it's a conglomerate, but it's also a monopoly. There's monopolies everywhere these days. And the business up there is dangerous. In America, business is just dangerous. There's no words for it. Treacherous. And so we're still functioning differently. I got stations from that. And things are spreading. I know that we already altered the decision with George Bush. We helped because we had so many stations. If we had not had the stations, you'd have the other guy. And we'd be worse off today. See that? So all these things are happening. It's all by the skin of our teeth. Win things, lose everything. Kind of thing. And so I don't even know where I'm going for this, but the point is that everything happens as it should. And I want you to understand that your life is driven by metaphysical forces. They're not physical. You can't smell it, touch it, feel it. Metaphysical is beyond physical. And it is that which creates the physical or destroys the physical. It creates life for humans. The evil can't do much to the antelope and to the lion. It doesn't have that possession. It doesn't possess that quality in its existence. But human beings is something God wants to do to make children in His image. He wants to do that for whatever reason. And He devises a way to do it, which is painful. Yes, you see all the cruelty. Has to be. You've got to give people free will. So now we come back to the story of when we're born into sin. So therefore, the first person wasn't born into sin, he did it. That was necessary, and God knew very well it would happen. And if He built a billion Adam and Eves, they'd do the same thing because He is no match for the devil. Where did the devil come from? A war in heaven. It was a spiritual thing first. And they fall to the earth. And He puts them there. And those spirits are everywhere. They're in this room. They're in the street. It's like a pandemic. It's everywhere, wherever you breathe, wherever you go, among people. You're not by yourself. But you could put two people on a desert island, an uncorrected woman and a man who does not know how to correct the woman but needs her. Put them two on the island because you would have, pretty soon you'd have war. You'd have enough people on the island, they start to kill each other for ascendancy and control. And it will all come from those two, every time. So the whole world has different variations of culture, but the only culture is God's culture. We have to find God's culture because it's the pure culture. Otherwise we have the ersatz ones. And some of them are halfway decent, and the others are really rotten. And we have to pay the price because the good people are not good enough. They have a weakness not to want to fight. I'd knock you down as soon as I look at you. If I make a decision, if I could get to be, it's all fantasy. But if I could have been there and had the power to be in charge of Churchill, get rid of Churchill, and all of a sudden Adolf Hitler comes up, and you made me prime minister, I would immediately know what to do. But the British didn't know. The politics were powerful. All the forces were against them. And the BBC had a Nazi sympathizer that refused to put him on the air. But here's the point. If they had put him on the air anywhere from 1929 to 1938, there wouldn't have been a war. Because he would know what to do. He would have known how to frighten the pants off Hitler, because Hitler was just playing this game of intimidating. And the generals saw how he behaved and how British people not wanting to fight for good reason, because they just came out of a World War I and lost lots of young people. So they were not really cowards, but they had the inclination to give in. And they didn't have the right information. But Hitler was nothing. But when the generals saw that he was manipulating them, and the prime minister, what was his name? Chamberlain. He represented that kind of behavior. So he was a liberal. And liberals always emboldened war. And the conservative like Churchill, who had that intuition to stand up, he saved America, he saved the world. Just that one man. But it was a bit late for him. But he did it anyway. But there wouldn't have been 80 million people dead if he got them in the right place at the right time. But there was all these things in the way. But he still did it. There does not need to be any wars at all if America can find out what I'm sharing with you. You've got to wake up. But you've got to wake up more than you are now. You've got to be a Christian. I'm Jewish, so I'm not a Christian because I didn't have to, because he's still Jewish. So I didn't have to change my religion. But it's not a religion. It's Jesus represented the transformation, the transcending of beyond religion, so you don't need religion. Yes, you read the Bible like you read history. Okay, it's very important. Don't get me wrong. But you don't babble it and gobble it up like an actor on the stage and pretend to be something you're not, and not knowing you're pretending. You think you're really it. That's a hypnotic state. It's a self-righteousness. But that's not strong enough to fight evil. When you're fighting evil, it's really evil. So you have to be really good. Do you understand that? I'm not saying those words are appropriate, but I have to put emphasis. You have to be perfect. Be you therefore perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Why aren't you perfect? Well, because my preacher says you can't be perfect. How can you be perfect like God is? See, no, you don't understand what perfect is. It's perfecting. It's every moment. In other words, you've longed for the purpose of creation. You hear a man like myself speak, or another, if there's one. I don't know if there is one because I think that I don't see it anywhere. It's also got squashed out everywhere. See, and everybody's adapted their own idea of what God is or what God isn't, and what right and wrong is. But there is a right and there's a real wrong, and what we're dealing with, what festers first, what comes up first is always evil because you're born into it. And you're part of it, and you don't know you're part of it. So you're doing unto others without knowing what you're doing. And the women do to their children without knowing what they're doing. They think they're loving them, they're always destroying them. See, and the men are loving the women, looking for approval, but it looks like love, but it ain't. All he's doing is abusing her and using her, and she's getting angry. And she's going along to get along until she can't help but hate him. And he runs off with somebody else, or beats her up in order to get what he wants. Which doesn't help him any, only makes him worse.
Or he gives in.
The more you give it, and the more you give, the more you're going to embolden that person. You cannot save yourself. So now you understand, here is the choice. It's not a choice. It's a salvation from a choice. You're not guilty. You were not guilty when you were born. You weren't a murderer, a thief. You were programmable because you're little. But your intuition, but because you are just born and you're just 2 or 3 years old and you haven't been beaten up enough yet. Mostly kids don't get beaten up until they start to have an awareness of the world, and the parents and the school kids and the teachers recognize it. The minute you start to be that way in this kind of environment, you become persecuted. And you don't know why you're being persecuted. And your mother and father don't know how to discipline you. They discipline you by doing nice things for you and giving you things and wanting you to love them. They think that's love. No, it's making you codependent. See? Or being impatient with them and getting upset with them and projecting the anger you feel towards your wife or own mother and father onto your kids and doing to them what was done to you. And the kids are reacting to that. But Dad, I didn't do that. And, shut up. then they go to church and they talk about impatience, and patience, and everybody gets impatience with it. Kids, if you ask the average Christian, they are impatient. But they think impatience, when they were little, they knew what it was. It made them what they are. So now they're doing the same thing to their own children with impatience, because it thinks the way you bring up a child. It isn't the way you bring up a child. It's learning to just enjoy seeing him unfolding and doing what he's doing, and just protecting him from falling into the water or something. Doing the minimal, just watching, and the enjoyment, just the sweet enjoyment of watching him unfold like a flower, which he will. But the minute you start to teach him, gone. He's dead. The minute you put him in school and walk away, you wouldn't give him, if you had $1 million in gold and take it to school and say, would you mind taking this, look after this, I'll come back this afternoon. The teacher will destroy your children. The teacher will, even a good teacher, a decent teacher, will brainwash your kids and make him, I'll tell you a little story, then I'll be finished. So my son comes back, he's 7 years old, and he doesn't want to go to school anymore because of pressure. So we have a little school on the beach, and he's troubled. So I go there and want to talk to the teacher, and I met him in the hallway. And I said to him, my son doesn't like to come to school because you're pressuring him. I don't want you to pressure him, I want you to teach him. So, and if he doesn't know it, you can just explain it to him and just leave him alone. And try some other time. He just said he's not ready for it. Or he doesn't believe you. See, because he's intuitive. He knows when you don't know. See, he knows when he doesn't like that. So he says, so you don't want me to teach your kid? I said, I didn't say that. I said, no, I didn't say that. I said, I don't want you to push him or pressure him. It's not good for him. He says, so you really don't want me to teach him? I said, no. I said, I don't want you to pressure him. Not the same. But you think they're the same, they're not. So I'm going to teach you a lesson. So I went like this, come over here. Come here.
Oh, no.
And he went up, and he left the ground. You feel it, don't you?
You're
You
still
see that?
strong.
You feel strength?
Yeah, you're still strong. You have a strong grip.
You're damn right. And I lifted him up, and he turned white. I says, now, how does it feel to learn by pressure? Huh? You got the idea?
Yeah.
He turned white. I said, I want you to pressure. Pressure is not, destroys my kid, it doesn't help him. And I lowered him down. I looked both ways, of course. I took him fishing next day. It's good guy, bad guy. It healed it and made him subject to me. I still can do it.
I know that now.
We don't do this on television as a rule.
We'll have a wrestling match.
Damn right, I'd win. No, I'm not weak.
I know you're not.
I can't run very far, but it's okay.
He's strong in his soul.
Yeah, well, it makes me strong in everything, doesn't it? So if anything goes wrong, I don't have to have my physical strength. My physical strength will become strong by itself, even if I was just winsy old person with hardly any flesh on my bones. I'll tell you a little story. and we'll finish. What time is it? Tommy knew better. We've been here a couple hours. It's nice. It doesn't feel like a time, does it? No. So, because we're having a friendly discussion here. Oh, no, I forgot what I was going to say. Too bad. Any questions? Some things you want to clear up? How are you doing? Is there anything I can add? Anything you need to ask me about anything? You're concerned about anything? About your recovery?
I feel an answer when you said you don't decide. You just...
There's no need
No.
to because
I've been doing that. I've been just sitting and
your
just...
monkey brain can't give you the answer.
Yeah,
It can only
yes.
give you what it remembers.
Yes.
It cannot make a decision any more than a monkey can.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most important message
Yeah.
for me today, because I've been feeling that where this week I've just been not doing anything. Because everybody's been telling me, you need to do this to get better. You need to go walk. You need
Right
to...
now, you just
and
take it
I
easy.
just sit by myself, and there's...
And to keep the TV off.
Oh, yes. No, yeah, I don't want TV, Roy. I don't.
No.
No.
So you seem much more. She does seem. You know her pretty well, don't you? She's just tense, and she's completely different.
Always trying, always trying, always...
Trying to please. Always
yes,
trying to please.
Always.
Yeah.
I still have to watch that. It's still
Yeah.
there.
Don't need to.
I see my brother with his kids because I'm staying with my mom right now, and I know the moment will come because he has anger in him. But right now I just have to watch
That's right.
right now, and it will come.
Come.
Nobody has to tell me what to say.
No, it's
It will.
nice.
It will just come.
So how old are you now?
I'm 53.
Well, you're marryable now. You
I
weren't marryable before.
I wasn't, Roy.
You're completely nuts.
I was. I mean, yes.
Everything you did it was too much, and you.
It was dark. It was dark. It was dark.
Yeah.
Everything was dark. No matter how good, it was dark.
Yes, it wasn't real.
No.
Yeah, and every time you extended it, made it more unreal, more dark.
It was.
So you don't know
That's
where to
why I
see.
had a seizure.
Yeah. You can do more and more good, but it isn't good. It feels the opposite when you're finished. There's anxiety.
Yeah. Yes.
So the result of being good is more anxiety and more guilt. Because you need to invite the good into you. Whatever is good, whatever you want to be the child of God, light.
Yes.
He has to give you the good, and you have to wait for it
I do.
and be patient.
I do.
Be patient on the Lord, so to speak. Don't be in a hurry.
No.
See? And you've got to develop some kind of direction. When I first began to think about what I'm going to be, I thought I'd like to be a scientist or a doctor. When I see how ugly and filthy and smelly everybody is, I'm glad I didn't become a doctor. God, it isn't like you're dealing with people. You're dealing with blobs of flesh that's barely human. They're so broken. I can understand the doctor's not wanting to deal with them anymore. They'll leave them on the ground. I'm sorry to put it that way.
True. It's true.
It's true. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Direction. Moving in a direction.
Oh, yes, that's right. I did say that, didn't I? And so I wanted to be one of those. But my father died at 42, so I couldn't be that. I just had to go to work and develop skill. I'm a diamond cutter by profession. I can cut you a nice diamond, I suppose, if I can still see it. But I went in the business for a while of cutting diamonds to the trade. All diamonds weren't cut properly. They didn't reflect the light. All the angles were wrong. Modern diamonds they are scientific, and that's where I came in, and make them more beautiful. So the old mine stones, the old mine as we call them, they need to be recut. And you lose a little bit, but only in the thickness of it, not in the circumference. It's much more beautiful, worth more. So that's what I was doing. But it seems like I need to put facets on people. Jesus was a wood carver, right? A carpenter. And I work on diamonds, and I want to work, and I think that's relative. There's a diamond inside you somewhere. I'm looking for it to help reconstruct what you were and will be. And I want to thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And you keep going, because you made a big change. You could see it from one week to the other.